Hello, hello. I gotta stop. You heard that too, didn't you? You didn't hear it? Oh, okay. It was just, okay. Hello, hello, hello. We are live. It is 5 o'clock. It is Tuesday. So it is our live at 5. Now, disclaimer, we are outside, the wind is blowing, and I need to know from you guys if you can hear me okay, if you can see me okay. If everything is okay, if you'll drop some nines in the chat so that I'll know that you can hear me, that you can see me okay. Everything is going well thus far so that we can continue. Hello, hello, Shakira. How you doing? Greengrass Grows. Hello, sis. How are you? Good to see you in the chat. This is Oki. Oki, hi. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you in the chat. As y'all can see, I have a special guest today. I have a very special guest today, and she goes by the name of Little Gigi. Why she goes by that name? That's the name I gave her. Okay. And so we wanted to come in today and to give you guys a little conversation, give you guys some information that I know a lot of people have been wanting and needing. Yeah, GG 2.0. Yeah, and it's been a while. It's been a long time since you've been on the live with me.
Yeah, I don't. The last time was back in April, March, April, when we first got.
Oh, it was in
It was on your birthday.
March. It was March.
It was a
Oh
birthday
my gosh.
live.
It's been almost a year since she was on a live stream with me. And so we're gonna talk about some stuff because we have a whole lot of information that is definitely going to be. Am I okay? Okay, I didn't see anybody drop any nines in the chat. Can y'all hear me? Can you all hear me? Can you hear me? Can you see me before we continue? Let me know that you can hear me and that you can see me. Y'all know we off grid and this internet is what it is. I mean, we came outside to see if perhaps we would be able to get a better signal, better than usual. But I don't know.
The view is a bit more.
Yeah, the view is definitely going to be janky, but I just want to make sure that y'all can really truly hear me well and that we're not buffering. Um yeah, the bugs. These big old bugs. So I want to make sure that you can definitely hear me well because it's one thing, if you can't see well, then it matters, but it don't matter. But if you can't hear me, then that's something totally different. So, all right. Hey, 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 badass 93 Stang. How you doing? Good to see you. Natural Diva. How you doing? Good to see you. Midnight Green. Hello, hello. How are you doing? Here loud and clear. Thank you very much. Cheryl Faulkner. How are you doing? Good to see you. Ide Love says we will work through the internet issues. We know what it is. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Ide. So we wanted to just come on and we want to just have a conversation because like our life is a little bit unusual compared to most people. Our life is it's different. Okay, we live in a different type of way, but we kind of always have. We were having a conversation the other day, um, me and Lil Gigi. We were having a conversation the other day, and one of the things that she said was, you remember when we were talking about um, normal versus abnormal?
Mm-hmm.
And so and so we were talking, just having this conversation, the experience with Sassy. Hello, how are you doing? Good to see you in the chat. Hello, hello, welcome to the G Tribe community. I don't think I've seen you here before, so welcome. So good to see you. Thank you guys for welcoming experience with Sassy in here. So we're having this conversation about what is really normal versus what is abnormal. Okay. And so we were just talking about, we were like comparing the way that we live our life from the time that they were little kids all the way up to, the present. Hi, Martika. How are you? Um, and we were talking like, wow, we thought that we were so normal. We were thinking that we were really like the normal people. But we kind of realized that we might actually be the abnormal. Little Gigi has grown to be a beautiful young lady. Thank you, Midnight Green. Thank you. we realize that we might, because and this is why we say that. We're just gonna tell the way that we see it. Okay. So to me, in my mind, well, let me let little Gigi tell y'all what she thinks normal is, and then what we see. And let's talk about what we see. What do you think normal is? What's normal to you?
Well, I think I think normal is subjective, but what's normal to me in terms of like what family people.
Yeah, just our normal life, our life experience
um
versus what you see in other people's lives.
oh,
Like who's normal and who's abnormal.
I won't say that, but um what I consider to be normal in my life and what I've grown up doing and everything, um the sitting down and communicating with your kids and talking to your parents is normal to me, but to other people it's not, especially my friends and everything. um their relationships with their parents are kind of what is considered normal to people that don't have good relationships with those that are around them, especially in family. But basically, it's abnormal to me because I'm not used to not being able to talk to my parents, not at some point when I get in a situation thinking, oh, well, I didn't get this talk from my mom or my dad, or I don't know what to do here. There are situations that are like that, but a lot of times I can say that we've either brushed over or we've had a complete talk about it, especially when it comes to dating and socializing and friends and how to deal with people on the street. And yeah, I mean, that's the main thing that I think about with normal, me having a good relationship with my parents and it progressing over the years. That's normal to me.
and to me, it feels like when I look at other people, this is so weird. I don't know why I even started that conversation. But when I look at other people, and we have a lot of visual into other people's lives on social media. And so to me, it's like what I see now as the norm is disrespect. is disrespect of your children, is disrespect of your parents, is disrespect of your grandparents. That seems now to me to be the norm rather than trying to be balanced with your kids, trying to be um trying to be respectful of your elders. To me, that seems to be the norm. That seems to be, I see more of that. I see more of the disrespect, the disregard. I even, and I was talking to, I think I may have mentioned it even on here once, where I was talking about they were on like public transportation. There were a bunch of people, obviously in the inner city. And there was this guy who was on the bus and he was kicking with his feet, kicking an elderly woman. Okay. And so for me, hey there, hey Psalm 146 Home and Garden, how are you doing? um I'm gonna try to keep on talking. I see y'all. Thank you so much for being here. Triple threat firearms and defense, how are you doing, Tarsha? Good to see you. um but he was kicking this elder and my blood was just boiling. Okay. And people actually sat there and allowed him to do this. All right. And so I'm just like, am I the crazy one? Like, really? Is there something wrong with me that I was angry? I was like fired 38 hot, like emptying the clip hot. Why was nobody else as angry as I was to see this man right there in front of them kicking an elderly woman? Who does that? First of all, who raised you? Who does that? That's number one. And number two, nobody stood up. There were men around, there were women around. Nobody did a thing. Nobody did a thing. And I am not built that way. I'm just not built like that. All right. And I just could not understand it. And so it make I think about stuff like that. And I think about the way I see people, even in the store the other day, just like cussing out kids, little kids, little kids who are just learning to talk. I see on social media where people are beating their kids for the camera. And I don't see this. I had to change my timeline. I had to change the types of things that I was seeing because I knew that that just could not be. That could not be the norm. And I just did not understand how. Is my internet going out? Okay. I think my internet is in and out. Can't wash your drawers right. But have the nerve to cuss. Mrs. Okie. Yeah, Shy said, I guess we're abnormal then. Because I wish mine would. But it's this is the norm. This is literally the things that you see more than anything else. You see people disrespectful towards each other, disrespectful towards children, elders. The way my mindset is, I have respect for my children too. Because the reality is that we live in a world where they're going to be disrespected all their life. I mean, it's just, this is where we live. Our kids are going to be disrespected their entire life. Country Hustle 101 said, mind your business is the new normal. Mm.
No, right?
That's the new normal. That's the new normal. There is no way on this earth that my dad would have stood around and saw an elder getting attacked and he did nothing. There's just no way. It just wouldn't have happened. Hi Janet, how are you doing? Hi Grace, guys. Hello, how are you doing? And so I'm just like, what is wrong with us? There's seriously something that is wrong with us. Khadijah said, love the thumbnail, such a nice throwback picture. Yeah, that was of me and the girls in the park. Of me and the girls in the park when they were growing up. And so I said all that to get into the conversation of who are you allowing to raise your kids? Who is raising your children? Who is teaching your children? And we're going to talk a little bit about education. Khadijah, do you homeschool your babies? Let me know. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about that because little Gigi is graduated now, just recently graduated from homeschool. Woo, woo, woo. Oh, there's UPS. Recently graduated from homeschool program. And you ever heard of the term, it takes a village? It truly, absolutely takes a village. So yes, Khadijah homeschools. So you'll be able to help us with some information as well. When we were young, welcome Janet. Welcome sis. Welcome back. Welcome back to the fam. Welcome back to the fam. Hello, how are you doing? Yeah. That's me. Thank you very much. Have a good day. You too. And so we were when let's just go back to my kids and when we first decided that we were going to homeschool. Our decision basically came because of the area that we were living in. We were living in an area that was just not friendly. And it was, I had a choice to keep putting my kids through that in that area. We had bought a house in the area and it was like, oh my God, we knew the history of it, but we didn't respect that the more things change, the more things stay the same. Okay. Let that take you wherever it wants to take you. Okay. Hi, Cassandra. How are you doing? Good to see you, sis. And so we moved to this area. The housing was great. It was affordable. New house built, all of this stuff. But we didn't put any respect on the history of that place. And now we're taking our kids and putting our kids into the fire. All right. We're putting our kids into the fire. And needless to say, after a lot of foolishness, nonsense, BS, I decided that I was going to pull my kids out of that school system and I was going to homeschool my kids. And so at the time, we were living in Georgia at the time. And so Georgia had this, what was it called? The program. You remember? You were little. You were so little. Georgia had this program. It's like a public school program, but that program will send you computers for each child that's registered with them. And it'll send you a printer. So if you were in need, if you were a family where you were in need, hi, Good Eats Homestead. How are you doing? Hi, Whole New Perspective. Hello. No, no. Oh my gosh, I forgot what it was called. I forgot what it was called. But anyway, the program would for families who needed it or who had multiple children, they would send you a computer and they would send you a printer for each one of the students that were enrolled in their program. And I enrolled all three of mine. And so we only had one printer and like one desktop at the time. It was K-12. Yes, yes, it was a K-12 program. Thank you, E-Day Love.
Oh.
Yes, it was. And so we started into that program. And what I noticed was that we spent a whole lot of time on schoolwork during the day. We spent a ton of time because we were trying to keep up with all of the lessons that had been given. And so you had three kids who were like, my kids are like two to 3 years apart, you know. And so their grades, the grades that they were in varied. And we had to and I, because obviously my husband was working full time. So I had to teach all three of them on their grade level. And I'm trying to do this at the same time. Without this one is so like me. Like she wants to know everything about everything. She was trying to get over to compete with the middle daughter on her level, even though she was in kindergarten. and so and so I'm trying to teach all of them. And at some point I was like, woo, these days are long. They're really long. And the children started to they grew more frustrated because I was doing all of this schoolwork. I was still trying to keep up with whatever the teacher decided that they needed to be working on. And for some reason, it's just like if you've ever taken an online program in college, in higher education, post-secondary. If you've ever taken an online class, they give you 3 times the work than what they do in the traditional classroom. They give you 3 times the work if you're taking the online classes. And so, hi Felicia, how are you doing? And so teaching attention span looked like an EKG. Listen, it was rough. It was rough, but I was managing. But by the end of the day, it was like we were exhausted because we were putting in more hours than the children that were in the school. And so that was good. And that was, socially for them, it wasn't the best thing. It wasn't the best socially, but it was good because when we decided that we were going to go back we moved out of that area. And then we decided that we were going to go back into a different area. And that area was much more diverse. That area it was highly rated, but for a reason. It was much more diverse. Okay. And so you could see your children in that type of environment. And so when we went into that environment, and they were like, my oldest daughter, they were like, we're going to have to give her a placement test, I believe is what they called it, because since she's been homeschooled, we're going to have to give her a placement test. And they tested her. They were like, it's going to take her, I can't remember how much time they told me it was going to take, but it was well over an hour. I was like, it's all right. I bought a book. I'll be sitting right here waiting, until she comes out. And so about 20 minutes later, my daughter walked out and the lady was like, whoa, she's done. She's really done already. And so I was like, okay. And she was like, and she did really well. So all of the stuff. And I was like, and I asked her, I said, babe, I said, was it easy? And she was like, yeah, we had already done that in homeschool. We had already surpassed what they were doing in homeschool. All right. And so now she's going back into the traditional classroom. She did great. All of them did great, going back into the classroom. And then we started, they started getting accepted into the different programs and stuff like that. So it was an experience. And the one thing we learned, a couple of things from that actually. Some of the things that we learned, was to make sure that you build a community of people who are doing the same thing that you're doing, if you're going to do that. Because if you want your children to be able to still get that interaction with other kids, you want them, and I definitely would seek out my own curriculum, which is what we did later in life when we homeschooled again. We went to seek out our own curriculum just from different places. Not We didn't have one structured curriculum, because a lot of what we did was learning like real life stuff. We learned what type of stuff that you learned from being homeschooled.
Um, now or
Well, yeah, most recently, over the last 2-3 years. Like, talk to them about some of the things that you were able to learn by, other than just the, science, math, social studies, whatever.
I would say the most is one, myself, two, about life and
Oh, you can't just jump over that. Okay, wait a minute. Let me write it down, because you got to go back to this. You said myself. Okay, go ahead. Go with your list.
we're gonna come back to
We're
it.
gonna come back to
Okay.
that.
Um, I've learned about life. Write that down. I've learned about other people.
Mm.
This is also into myself, but things that I am good at, or things I'm good at that I didn't know before. And this one, the last one that I can think of, is kind of a general. It's kind of like a synopsis of the whole thing. Is what was the last one I said?
Things that you're good at that you didn't know you were.
Um, what was I gonna say? I don't forgot that already. Getting over.
Her senior citizens years,
Yeah.
catching up with her. Okay, let's just go back to yourself. Mrs. Oka says she learned a lot about herself and life. Other people love it. All right, go back to yourself. Like, you can't just run over that.
So this is a long story. I will not go fully into it, but I will take out the key things. Okay. So what I've learned about this is something that I'm admitting. When I was in public school, which the last time that I've been like consistently going to public school is my freshman year, before the girl Kovisha came. So I can genuinely say that I didn't realize it until I was in quarantine, where I was forced to be alone all the time, that I really did not like myself. And what I mean by that is I could not, I was very codependent on others. I didn't realize how much I was. I was miserable for months in quarantine, and I was always mad at my mom for not allowing me to go out, which now I understand it was for safety, but it was very necessary, because I learned how to be alone and how to address the fact that I'm very clingy and codependent on my friends and everything. I feel like I was just genuinely a mess, like a complete mess. I was around 14 or 15 years old, so I was growing into that. I was I was going through the self identity crisis, I call it,
Mm.
during quarantine, a little bit out of it in the 2021. But basically, what I mainly learned was that I did not like spending time with myself at all. I didn't know how to. And I felt like I always needed someone else to entertain me. Even though other people relied on me for entertainment and relied on me for help and a laugh and advice or all of this stuff. Sometimes I would rely on myself for that, but normally if I wanted entertainment, I would go to somebody else. I would not even just sit for 2 seconds and think about myself, think about who do I want to do this and that for? What do I want to have this for? Is it necessary? Yeah, honestly, basically that I didn't like myself and that I was too attached to others, and that I am now I can say that I genuinely do like myself. I have a better relationship with myself. Um, yeah, I think that's important for a lot of people that are young, because when you're going through those 4 years of high school, it's like every year you go through something completely different. You
Mm.
change every single year. My first year of high school, that was just me being a buffoon and having fun all the time. 10th grade was me having to be serious and get real about life, but also still learn. 11th grade was when I went back to school for I think a week or two, and then
Yeah,
and then I was out.
because that was in that was COVID was rampant at the time.
Hmm. And then we were about to move. We were really considering, I think it was in the fall, and we were looking for land and all the other stuff. So I was like, they were talking as if we were just gonna leave. They didn't know when we were gonna leave. So I was like, one, I don't feel like doing all this COVID stuff. People were getting COVID literally every day when I went back to school. Everybody was getting quarantined. So I was like, I'm just finna leave anyway. And I will say one thing that I don't think that I told you, but I told my best friend, is that
Shy.
we it's not crazy.
Okay.
It's is that I had gone through so much during quarantine with learning about myself and others, to the point where when I got back to school, it was not the same at all.
Mm.
I It sounds strange, but I felt like I actually outgrew school. I outgrew public school.
Mm.
Most of the people that I was friends with freshman year, I either fell out with, or we just didn't talk that much. Or if I had those same friends that, I was still friends with them. There was nothing wrong with them, but they hung around other people that I didn't align with anymore. I felt like that doesn't really represent me as a person. And I don't feel like I fit in, because my whole entire, I would say from middle school, especially seventh, no, like 8th grade,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was hanging out with certain groups of people just because I didn't like the people that I was hanging out with before. They were actually better for me than the people that I started hanging out with then.
Mm. Okay.
And I had changed a lot, especially when I got into high school. No, I was not out there fighting and beating people's children up. I've never done that. But
Well, I wouldn't say
not
never, but
well, not at school. I've never done
not
that.
at school.
I've never done that. Don't do that. I've never done that to people at school. I've never gotten into any fights. They can all
Yeah,
say
that's
that.
true. That's true.
But I feel like you can be a not a bad person, but an interesting person without being physically violent, without getting into fights, without being suspended, without always getting in trouble, having detention or some type of issue. I was just a complete mess and I was confused on who I was basically. I just my whole existence was being a people pleaser, was
Mm,
trying to fit into people that I when I look at people that I used to hang out with, I'm just like, what? I'm not mad at you because you learned from it, but what were you doing? You had no business even talking or looking in the direction of these type of people.
mm-hmm,
And like you said, you're better than that.
mm-hmm,
Don't now I'm not afraid to say that. Back then,
mm-hmm.
I knew that I was better than that, but I thought that fitting in and being, I guess, like, I didn't want to be popular, but like, I wanted to be well known within a certain group of people
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
the point where I completely just put aside that set of my morals and what I've been taught.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And that comes with, teaching your children to know themselves. Now they're gonna have their own identity. At some point they're gonna have their own identity. There's nothing else that you can do. But when you put in certain things from a young age, it's just like when the word says, train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they're older they won't leave that. It didn't talk about in the middle. It didn't talk about all of the struggles that they're going to go through in the middle. It didn't talk about the journey that they're going to have to take before they get older, before they understand that I am better than this. I am. There's nothing for me over there. There's nothing except for low vibration over there. But one of the reasons we were talking about um the normal versus the abnormal is because the low vibration crap is the popular stuff like this. Like look at it, it's maybe 29 people in here, maybe, in a conversation like this. But if we were playing and we were BSing, it'd be 100 folks in here. If we were cussing somebody out, if we were doing nonsense, I would not even have to ask for the video to be shared out. I wouldn't have to ask for any of that, because that normal stuff, it'll just go. It'll just go. It'll be, people will be sharing it, people will be making it viral. But when it comes to Sean, but when it comes to, let's put good stuff into our kids, let's have conversations with our
sorry.
kids. What you saw?
Change the name of the live to Lil Gigi's TED.
Yes, Mrs. Oki. when it comes to the nonsense and just shooting, like my husband calls it, just shooting the bobo. People love to shoot the bobo, you know, and stuff like this is like, it's so weird. Why are they like that? Are these black people? It's like we're so weird compared to a lot of people, because it's like drama, Cassandra. People love drama. And I would call it something else, but my daughter sitting here, not like she heard me say it before, but because she sit here, the people love the drama and the BS. And that's what draws people. And so it makes us have conversations like, are we weird? And yeah, I guess so. I guess we are weird, because Because we don't want that, because we don't want that type of life. um
You can say it.
I
She
can say
won't
she
hear
won't hear
me.
me. Shy told me, Shy sent me a message before I went on live and told me I need to feed you before you come on. I should be acting up. So I fed her, Shy. I fed her. But when and now we live in the state of Florida, okay?
Hmm.
Everybody knows what's going on in the state of Florida. Um right now, among some other things, diversity is being attacked, okay? Diversity is being attacked. Anything that has to do with inclusion is being attacked. And yeah, and that's it. One of my good friends is a professor and she teaches African American history. That's what she teaches. And so now you're saying we're not even going to teach this anymore? We're not going to teach all the history? Nobody was fighting when the lies have been spread. Nobody was fighting to get rid of any courses before. So why now? Why the things that are going to teach our kids diversity? Why the thing? I know the reason, and I know y'all know the reason, but I'm gonna let you do what you will. But this is why homeschool is so important. Even if, even if you have to send your kids to public school because you have to work or whatever, it's been attacked everywhere. A whole new perspective. Yes, yes. Everyone wants to talk diversity and inclusion, but are reluctant to practice it. Exactly. Exactly. I have this one friend who is she is just an associate. She's not even a friend of mine. But y'all know my undergrad degree is in sociology. That's what my degree is in. And so I am so into this type of stuff. I love this. I absolutely love this. I love discussing this. I love having high level conversations about this type of thing because it's just a part of me. It's just in me. This is what I do. This is what I'm interested in. This is what I do. And so she is a Caucasian female, and she came out of a religion that was like a cult, okay? And she had been stuck in that religion for years. Hi, Yankee sister. How you doing? Hi, Sylvia. How are you? She had been stuck in that religion for years. And when she came out of it, honey. And one of the things that we would discuss is being anti racist. Okay. And what that means at its core is that if you're not speaking up against racism with your family, did it buffer? Do I need to say it again? If you are not speaking up, if you are not willing to protect me as your so called Black friend, if you're not willing to protect me from other people who are there to do me wrong, there to do harm to me, you are a co conspirator. This is when the university classes would always go crazy because now you're challenging people at their core. You're challenging at the core of them who they are and who they've been raised to be. And so this Caucasian woman, who is an associate of mine, um, gets on her page, gets on her Facebook page, and she tells people about themselves. And she is very, very clear that she is not going to tolerate her family talking about Black people, about Mexicans, about Indian people. She's not going to tolerate it. And she speaks up against it. And so she's been ostracized, obviously. But that doesn't stop her. She continues to go. And my thing is, all right, girl, you all right with me? Because guess what? If you came to my environment, if you came into my space and somebody tried to disrespect you, and I consider you a friend, I consider you, if you're close enough to me to get into my environment, to get near my family, then guess what? I'm going to protect your ass. I am going to protect you. And I simply expect the same thing in return. And so she's that type of gal. She's that type of gal. I love her. I love her. I love to read her chats. I love to see her talking about her truth and talking about her reality and what she goes through. And so I said all that to say, when you have children, you have a responsibility. There is nobody else in this world who is more responsible for your children than you are. I saw this sister on TV crying her eyes out because I can't remember whether it was her son or her daughter, but crying her eyes out because she said the school system failed her child. Let's get real unpopular right now, okay? She said that the school system failed her child. Did you see that? You saw it. She said the school system failed her child. Now, for us, the way we educated was, let me just go back to this unpopular opinion of mine, okay? The only people that can truly fail their children is the people themselves. If it is my responsibility to make sure that Lil Gigi is a whole person, to make sure that she is confident, to make sure that she does work towards making sure that she loves herself, making sure that she is self-assured. And when she goes out into this world, she knows that she is just as good as anybody else out there. And also to make sure that she knows that everybody is not fit to be in her presence. Everybody's not fit to be a friend of hers. That's our responsibility as parents. So when it's time for us to go and to teach our kids, what we did was, when they got home from school, they didn't want to hear it half the time. They like, we've been in school all day. We are not trying to come here and keep on getting more educated in schoolwork and having to do an extra book report just because daddy was thinking about something and he wanted them to write a book report on it. Like, we took that responsibility, and it's our responsibility as parents to make sure that we are doing this. So who are you letting teach your kids? What are you allowing them to teach your kids? And what are you doing to correct the misinformation that is given to your kids? You see where that all points back to? It all points back to the parents. So you can sit here and cry and say that this is wrong, that somebody else failed your child. But how does your child get to fourth grade and you don't know that your child knows how to read? That your child does not know how to read. You don't know that your child does not know how to read. How is that even possible? How is that even humanly possible for a child to get how old are you in like fourth grade? 10? I don't know.
Yeah, about 10.
However old a child is in fourth grade, how does a child get to fourth grade and you don't know that your child does not know how to read? Now, we had people who we know who graduated high school and still don't know how to read. Nikki, the everyday life of an OCD is chick. How you doing, sis? It was so funny to me, and I still repeat what Nikki said. I still repeat what Nikki said about, child, I went to public school. Don't blame me. I went to public school. And I just think that's so hilarious. And that's why I repeat it sometimes, because I think it's so hilarious. But when we got off, Country Hustle says you miss a lot working 2 and 3 jobs. You absolutely do. But what most people don't miss is girl time or guy time or hanging out with the friends. Gina versus Gina, how you doing? Or going to watch the game with the homies, or going on vacation, even though they got those same 2 or 3 jobs. It's certain stuff that they just don't miss out on. And it has to be a priority. Teaching my children Black history, I never left it up to teachers who didn't even like my children. I didn't leave it up to them to teach my children Black history. I was going to always find some time. I was going to always make some time. Even on a car ride. It doesn't have to be, and this is the thing that I love about teaching your own kids and about homeschooling, is that, look, we sitting outside, but we be outside learning. All of this stuff behind us, our collard greens and broccoli and some tomatoes and all of this crap. My child is now, this one is teaching the older children how to garden, how to grow. She's teaching them that stuff. She has conversations with them that she shouldn't even really understand on the level that she understands. She shouldn't understand as much as she does about identity, about self-awareness, about self-actualization. She shouldn't know all of this. But even on our car rides, even we have the radio off. We don't listen to the radio. We have conversations. We talk. We make sure that the things in life that they're going to go through, we talk about them. Because guess what? Nobody is going to be a better friend to your child than you. Not in a way that they can be disrespectful, Black people, okay? Your child ain't your friend. Yeah, I get it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that friend that sticks and educates and teaches your child manners and respect and how to get, somebody bringing in the word. Hold on. Teaching your child respect and dignity and manners and self-respect and respect for others. Like the word says, teach the children when rising and when sitting, when walking by the way, etc. Everywhere and any time is a time for teaching. One thing that my children often say, hi, growing with Hudson, how you doing, sis? One thing that my children, and they would joke, me and my husband, because they were like, oh Lord, here we go with another teachable moment. But we literally seek to make everything a teachable moment. We seek to make every moment teachable for our children. Because guess what? They got to go out in this world and they got to deal with all them people who think that they better than them, who think that they're smarter than them, who think that they have more physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually. Them people who think that you nothing and they everything. They got to go into the world and deal with those people. So if you don't prepare your child for the world, who you think gonna prepare your child? I read to my children from the time they come out the womb. We visited the library a lot. They would bring home stacks of books. Listen, everything you ever want to know is in a book. Everything you ever want to know, it's in there. Auntie Bev Jones, hello, how you doing? But it's your responsibility. And so we go through and we make sure that everything, all of this stuff. I told little Gigi the other day, go out there and tell your dad to teach you how to use the generator. Let him teach you how to start this generator. Because guess what? If he is not here and I am not here for some reason, and she's here and she needs water, she needs to charge up the RV, etc., then guess what? She can do it. She can do it herself. Hi, Grammy's Journal. How are you doing? So it's up to us. Little Gigi look like she ready for a nap. Listen, we said that we were coming. We said that we were coming to take a nap, and then we ran into a little snafu, and we didn't get a chance to take a nap before the live stream. Nikki said, if we don't teach our children, the world certainly will, the good and the bad. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I promise you, your child is going to learn something. And so make sure that what they are learning are the life skills that they're going to need. My child, your plan, you still want to go into psychology?
Yes, it is. Right now, I am in between being a pediatric nurse and psychology. So basically, I'm trying to find a way to balance everything that, well, of course, not everything, but as much as I can that I've wanted to, that I've had an interest in throughout life. So when I was younger, even still up to now, deep down inside my spirit, I am a doctor.
In your spirits.
I am, I'm a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever they're sick, or yeah, basically whenever my family has been sick, especially my mom,
mm-hmm.
I've mainly been the one to try to figure out something to make her feel better. Mm-hmm. I used to always make my mom tea when she would be on the couch, couldn't move, couldn't get up or anything. I would always make her tea. It would be, I think it was ginger and lemons and some type of spices and all the other stuff. And she would drink it and it would help her with different things like mucus and getting her energy back and stuff. And plus, like, a lot of things that I've had interest in have been somewhat in the medical field. I have said that multiple times when people have asked me what I wanted to do, especially within the past year, what I wanted to go, if I wanted to go to college, what would I go for? And I've always said something in the medical field because that's what I feel like I kind of resonate with a little bit. So to break down each one, the pediatric nurse, once again, even though a nurse is not a doctor, first of all, I feel like nurses are very underappreciated.
Amen.
They really,
Amen.
I like being, which this also goes into the psychological aspect. It makes a huge, the nurses are very different because they get a sit down interaction. They spend more time with the patient. A lot of times when you go to the doctor, just having a good nurse and having someone that is there to actually show that they care about you and are willing to look after you without making you feel like you're a burden on their time, because they
Mm,
love to do that in the
mm,
hospital, in the doctor, for whatever reason. That seriously makes a difference,
mm-hmm.
which, like I just said, goes into the psychological aspect, which is another interest that I have. And then the pediatrics, I've always, my mom can tell you, I've always loved babies. I've always loved kids. If her friends have ever brought, I don't care how old I was, if they ever brought their babies around, I was the one in the baby's face.
What you think about that little baby we saw today?
My little baby, my little peanut. She is getting big. She is very squishy and cute. And you know what? While you brought her up, when she was I think it was the day after she was born, or like, because she was born at midnight, so going into the next day. Um, when I was at the hospital, I was really considering labor and delivery nursing.
Mm, okay.
And for some reason, I don't know why, but that day when I was in there watching, even though the nurse was in there a few times, but watching the baby, learning about her body language and things that she does, despite only being a few hours old,
Yeah.
and just the environment in general, I really felt kind of like aligned to that day. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I'm really gonna put this back into consideration, because I used to my oldest sister and I, we used to always talk about wanting to be OBGYNs
Mm-hmm.
or working with pregnant moms in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I still have that interest, but it's kind of, with me, throughout my whole life, I've just switched careers,
Mm-hmm.
which I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's fine to do. A lot of people
You're
think
young.
that you have to stay with one thing,
Mm-hmm.
and one, that's why I don't tell people everything. But you, but
Yeah.
yeah,
You have to be careful that you're not sharing your big goals with small minds. You have to be
Mhm.
careful of that.
So I've um always kind of, I've had like an interest. Wait, in
Girl,
Lord,
we country. We went to
I
public school. Say
interest. Yes, there it goes. I always had an interest in um pregnant moms and the way the body works during pregnancy, the things that change. I literally watch videos. I was watching this one video, I think like one day when I had finished one of my classes in online school, about a lady explaining what happened to her body after birth,
mm-hmm.
like directly after, a few days, after a few weeks, a few months, because she had given birth to her baby, I think, a few months before that. But yeah, anyway, going back to the career thing, with me always loving babies and kids, and they can be different to work with opposed to an adult, but being able to work with their parents, because they are an important part of that, being able to work with the kids, because I'm really good with kids and everything. And then yeah, I definitely feel like in some way, because dad is always asking me over the past few years, what do you think your purpose is?
Mm,
And for sure, I think helping people is in that. Of course, I'm still finding it.
mm-hmm.
Don't have to have it figured out right now, but I definitely think that helping people is in there. So I feel like that, being a pediatric nurse is a good balance of a lot of what I want to do in life and what I feel like I'm good at and what my purpose is. And then psychology is a whole thing. that has always interested me. Um, the mind is just, it's so complex, especially
And
when
it's
you're,
so great.
it
It's
is
so
so great.
interesting. I love it.
Whenever I go into the bookstores, which I think that this also ties into what I said, what I learned about myself. Okay, so when I was younger, I used to love reading. I used to love reading all the time.
Mhm.
As I grew up, the interest went away once I stopped reading. And once it kind of became mature, they, a lot of times when you go into public school, when you get older, they choose what you read. They don't really give you an option, or if they do give you options, it's stuff that you really don't care about, especially if you're not interested in a certain subject.
Mm.
So when you're not interested in what you're reading and you don't care, you don't absorb what you should be. And it's kind of tedious. Like the summer reading, my mom used to always ask me during summer, did you do your summer reading? And
Yeah.
I would not do it until like the first
It's
week of school.
yeah, it's time to go back or in that first week. Yep. Yep. What were you so angry with me about? You remember? You were talking about oh, tell them about that situation. You remember the situation where when you were still in school but you were doing um you all were having class on Zoom
Mm-hmm.
or on that whatever the program was that they created in Leon County,
Mm-hmm.
and y'all were having to do it and you weren't doing the work. Tell them about that.
Okay, so that actually goes into, I think, all of the bullet points.
Mhm.
What I had to learn was self discipline. And I can say that it's made a huge difference within literally everything that you do. So let's go back. I'd say for the first, what was it, like 2 months of online school, when the year I was a sophomore in high school, when the year started back, up until late October, early November, I was just, I was not, online school is an adjustment,
Mhm.
especially with us getting out of school due to something so sudden within the world, and not really, we were kind of thrown into it cold turkey. We weren't
Mhm.
prepped for it or anything
Mhm.
because no one knew it was going to happen. And they did a good job despite being in such a rush. But I had no motivation at all. That was also during the time where I was finding myself, and I was starting to find hobbies that I was interested in. So
Mhm.
I was spending more time that I should have been doing my homework and getting my work in. I was on my iPad just going nuts,
Chilling.
doing whatever I wanted to, which it, in a way, is productive when you don't have school to do. But um anyway. But I was basically
Oh,
just
I see
doing.
what you mean. I see what you mean. You're talking about like she is a researcher like I am. So that's what she I think that's what you mean, right? But it was still productive. You were still doing something that was going to be beneficial,
Mhm.
even though you were having fun, it was still going to be beneficial. Okay, sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
And it was, I feel like it was helpful to me being able to learn about myself and getting through being alone and adjusting to that a lot easier. So I was not doing my work at all. I had I had no motivation to do it. I didn't feel like it was, I, deep down I knew that yes, you're supposed to do your schoolwork, duh, but your wants take over instead of your needs or priorities. So that's basically what happened, and I just stopped.
And so
Now,
when the teacher called me, what happened?
the teacher didn't call you.
Yes, she did. How do you think I learned that you weren't doing the assignments?
I showed you. You asked about my grades, and then I didn't want to
She
show you
called me.
enough.
Yes, she called me.
Well, I don't know what happened with that, but I know that one day. Oh, you're talking about in early quarantine. I'm talking about when I was in 10th grade when I got my phone taken.
Yeah, that situation.
Oh, okay. But well, what she's talking about, that was when we first got into quarantine. That's when my teacher did call her and tell her your child is not doing homework. But it was close to the end of the year, so I stopped caring anyway. But I picked that back up. But what I'm talking about, um, one day I went downstairs, minding my business to go eat. My mother has already asked me multiple times before throughout the year,
Excuse
but
me.
she just left it alone and just trusted my word. She's been like, "What about your grades? What's going on? How's school going?" And all this other stuff. And I knew that I was doing bad and I wasn't doing what I was supposed to. And she had already asked that question before, and I something in me knew I wasn't going to get away with it this time. So it made me mad because I'm like, I'm about to get in trouble because now she asking to see it physically instead of just asking about it. So I was frustrated and I was like, it's fine, it's fine. She's like, well, let me see it if it's fine and all this other stuff. And then I was like, I had an attitude basically, and I went and showed her, and I was pretending to be confused about the setup and how it worked.
But Gigi is her mother.
Yeah,
So
so I was like, you know what? Ain't no point. So I just showed her.
no point.
I showed her everything that was out of line, and then she got serious about it. She didn't yell. She didn't do anything that y'all think that she would do because a lot of
Because
times,
we're weird.
Yeah, we're weird.
We weird like that. Like yelling, no.
She fixed a lot of.
We're just weird like that.
She fixed a lot of the aggression, like not even to be funny, but like as a parent, a lot of times parents think that aggression with your kids when they aren't doing what they're supposed to do or when you don't approve of something that they do, that aggression through physical and verbal and emotional abuse is the way that you should go. So my mom calmly said, you need to get serious about what you're doing. You need to figure out some way to make sure that you're on top of your schoolwork. So what I'm going to do is I want you to give me your phone. You can you did you take my iPad too, or could I have I think I have my iPad.
No, I think I took it all.
Yeah, she took everything.
I took it all.
Yeah, she took everything but my iPad. I mean, not my iPad, but my laptop.
Whatever you needed in order to do the work is what you were left with. Everything else was.
So I had my laptop. That was the only thing that was left. So she said she took my stuff and said that she wanted me to spend the next few days getting caught up because she was even more frustrated when I told her the 9 weeks were about to be over. And I was supposed to be secretly making up all of that work, but bad timing and my mom asked. And the thing is, I probably wouldn't have done it because I was procrastinating anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So she took my stuff and I was upstairs. I was upset. I think I did start crying at some point because I was so frustrated, like the angry tears.
Mm-hmm.
And then the weirdest thing happened.
And who cared? Who cared? Who cared? Nobody. Nobody cared about the
taking my
tears.
bedroom door. Also. Lord have mercy. So
that is hilarious.
Yeah, I had the angry tears, and I was like, like I was saying, the weirdest thing happened. For the first time in a while, I took accountability for my actions and what I did. I felt like this sense of this is highly necessary because you were not doing what you were supposed to do. You knew better than that. And something needs to change, but you need some way to get a kickstart to get it started because you are struggling to do it by yourself. Mm-hmm. So I remember when I was doing it for a few hours, I came back downstairs and I remember talking to you about working out a plan of how during the day when I'm doing my work,
Mm-hmm.
I can put my phone on the table,
Mm-hmm.
so in my electronics, so I don't have them,
Mm-hmm.
and I can, once I'm done with my schoolwork, I can come back and I can get them, and then I can just go about my day basically. So that's
Wait,
what
repeat that. Repeat that again.
um
Yeah, okay, so what you were saying is that she came up with her own plan, and your plan was what?
to bring my distractions, which my electronics, downstairs, put them on the table, and go back upstairs until I finish what I'm supposed to do. And once I'm completely done with everything, I can come back and I can get it and go about the rest of my day.
Okay, let me ask y'all a question real quick. Are we buffering? Growing with Hudson said growth. Lil Gigi taking accountability. Are we buffering? Because I'm looking at my phone and I feel like
It's starting to feel a little slow.
okay, that's what I thought.
They said yes.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Okay. Let me try to move a little bit. Um, hold on. Let me plug my device in. Hold on. Sorry. Gotta get up in front of the camera. Okay. Go ahead.
So yeah, I came up with that solution, and my mom was like, for the first few days, because it was the same day that I got my phone took, and that whole shebang went down. So she was like, I'm gonna keep your phone for the whole day until I think about 7 or 8 o'clock, and then I want you to catch up because this is your catch up day, so you
Mm-hmm.
don't need your phone. So I'm gonna keep it until 7 or 8 o'clock, and then I will give it back to you. Surprisingly, I was not angry at that. I did agree with what she was doing because I knew that it was necessary, and I came up with a plan anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And I think, let me interrupt just for a second, baby.
mhm.
I think um because we weird. I think that's really important that as a parent, for us, for my husband and me, I think it's really important for us to make sure that we hear them. And so me taking the phone and the iPad and whatever else that she had, yeah, that was a form of punishment, but it was also, to me, it was also, let me inspire my child. Because if I can give her a little bit of, you have to have accountability for yourself, because this world is not going to be easy on you. So if you can take accountability for your own self and you can do better, then guess what? You can have it back. You can have it back. I didn't even know she was coming back downstairs and she was going to come with a plan for herself. All I wanted was for her to get the work done, because I knew she was highly capable of doing that work. On the first day, you remember how many assignments that you did on the first day when you applied yourself?
Over 10, I
It
think,
was a lot.
around 15 to 20.
A lot of assignments she did in one day because she didn't have those distractions. And she knew that I meant business. I didn't have to hit her. I didn't have to cuss her. I didn't have to do any of that normal stuff that people like to do to their kids. I did the abnormal thing of saying, you're going to be accountable for your actions. You're going to be accountable for your behavior. I am not letting you off the hook, because you have a whole world and you have a whole life ahead of you that you have to be responsible for. If I drop dead today, what I have done is I have left my children, me and Eco neighbor children, our three daughters, we have left these children with some stuff. Okay. We like black people, we like comedy. Okay. We like to laugh, we like to have fun because it feels good. It gives us a minute to just separate ourselves from all the madness and all the trauma and all the stuff. And yeah, I love it. I love it too. I love comedy myself. I'm always watching just dumb stuff because it's funny to me. Okay. However, when it comes to real life and it comes to real life issues and it comes to me leaving something with the community that I am a part of, that's the G Tribe community, the gardening community, my children's lives, my granddaughter that is new here in this world, my friends, my family. My goal is always to leave you with something. And so I want for them to be the same way. Yeah, yeah, Miss Cheryl, the dumbish. That's the good, oh, good old dumb stuff. We love it. And there's a time for that. There's a time for that. And there, oh, Yankee sister. Oh, the world is full of consequences. Learn them now and not later. Thank you, Yankee sister. Thank you. So we have to take accountability. We have to learn how to take accountability for ourselves. We have to learn how to take accountability. And we have to learn how to take accountability for our family. It's up to us. I'm trying to let it catch up. Let me know when we caught up and back. Let me know when we caught up and back. Let me know when we caught up. I'm kind of going off. Oh, okay. I'm kind of going off of my phone, and like we're just frozen on my phone. So I just want to make sure. Okay, great, 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 great. All right. But we have to be responsible for ourselves. There is just too much irresponsibility. This is why we can't get along with each other. This is why you have men online who love to attack women. Like they don't have anything to do other than to attack each other. And men and women do the same thing. But it is so strange to me how I was seeing men being online in itself is different. It's unique because we weren't used to men doing the same things that women do. And now we in a totally different world. We in a totally different struggle. Like things are different. Mindsets are so different. And so Cheryl said, ain't nobody got time. And so things are just really different. It's really different now. And we just realized that we are the weird ones. Like there's something wrong with us. Like all of the other stuff is the norm. All of the other stuff we talked about in the beginning, that is the stuff that is normal. And the stuff that we do is just, you know, it's just not. It's just not. It's not the norm.
Do I need to tell the outcome of what I got?
Go ahead.
So, so, what we were talking about, me basically doing self-discipline, making sure that I get rid of all my distractions and focus on what's important. So I started doing that from November to literally the end of the school year, end of October, early November, to the end of the school year. I will admit, at the end of the year, I was kind of like, you get lazy towards the end of the year and you're like, okay, well, it's almost about to be done. So you do kind of slack a little bit.
And
But
what was my thing that I would always say to you all about the end of the year? What did I tell y'all every year?
Go strong.
Finish strong.
Yeah, finish strong.
Every year. That was it.
And what I did that was very, very different was when I immediately caught myself when I was slacking and when I was falling back into what I used to do. I immediately was like, okay, this is not going to happen because it's the end of the year. I've been doing this for this long. There's no point in me where I've literally changed from something that was so bad and what caused me so many problems and so much stress for me to fall back into that at the end of the year.
Mm.
So you and your finish strong kind of echoed in my head a little bit. And I was like, okay, let me take my phone back. Let me do what I need to do again. And I sure did.
Mm-hmm.
And the product from that was, for the first time in my life, I had got into honors classes literally because of a change that is so small.
Mm-hmm. Discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Self-discipline.
And just, I mean, everything really, really did change. The way that I did schoolwork changed. The way that I was able to answer questions changed. I feel like I was a lot smarter throughout the self-discipline and the learning myself. You learning yourself and learning about life really does help you when you get into school. It seems really, really weird that it would, but it does, especially in our class. Our teacher, the teacher that I had that I was telling you about, my English teacher, she really should have been in psychology, I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
because she was so interested in our well-being and our mental health during that time. She would literally tell us she would have assignments where if you just write it down, it's not going to get out, it's not going to go to anybody else in the class, it's not public, it's just coming to me. You go into like a Word document or some type of document on your computer and you just journal. You type. She did this at least every 2 weeks or every month. You type about how you feel, what's going on in your life, what you need to talk about, what you need to get off of your chest. Or she would ask questions that would relate to those type of things, basically where it's about you.
Mm.
And a lot of people, that's their interest, that they don't understand. Talking about yourself, it's easiest to talk about yourself. People think it's hard, especially when people ask you, who are you and what about yourself? It's actually very, very easy, especially when you have things that you need to get off of your chest.
Mm.
So that's mainly what she did. She would give us journal prompts. She had a lot of times when we did the writing and the journal prompts, sometimes it would be more about our well-being and understanding ourselves opposed to education, which sounds bad, but it really did keep your interest, and it was just an easy way for her to understand how you write and how you talk and who you are as a person despite her never meeting you. It says a lot about who you are and how, just simply off of the way that you talk and the way that you communicate, a lot of people will be like, wow, you're really smart. And I mean, you can get to know somebody just listening to them talk, not saying anything, just sitting there and listening to them talk.
I heard this young woman talking yesterday, and she had been shot and paralyzed, and she was talking about the situation that led up to her being shot. And basically it was just two young sisters who were just going back and forth. They were going back and forth with each other. And one of the things that stood out to me was that the interviewer was asking her, like, what Like, why? How did it even get to that point if you all were just preparing to fight? And she said that girl just didn't want to fight. She just shot me. She wasn't about to fight me. And then another thing was she said, "Look, I'm from the hood." And it was almost like this is just what we do in the hood. This is just what we do. This is just a part of everyday life. And so I go back to asking myself, dang, are we the weird ones? Like, is there something wrong with us that that is the norm, and what we do trying to be whole and balanced is abnormal? So for us, hi, how you doing, Brother Lawrence? Welcome in. Hi, Jim Jones. Welcome in. Aki, I can't pronounce your name, but I think you know who I'm talking about. Hello, hello, and welcome. Who's that said they from the ATL? Jim, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. Hi, Miss Maria, how are you doing? Um, that is a sign of a great teacher for a student to reciprocate, saying how well they are teaching is their goal. Yes, yes, that's a beautiful thing. And she was still doing her job. She was still doing her job as an English teacher because she was getting to see how these children write. Even though they were just journaling, they were still doing what they were supposed to be doing. And at the same time, she was able to help them to protect their mental health at the same time that she was teaching them about writing and whatever else was accomplished in that English class. I'm glad my hood father had many fights on the south side of Chicago. Yeah, I was glad we fought in the country. But now, guess what people don't want to do? They don't want to fight no more. They don't want to fight no more. They would just as soon take your life than to take a butt whipping. They would rather just take your life. They would rather take you out rather than to be embarrassed. And that's all it amounts to. They would rather take you out of here. They would rather ruin their life, put themselves in jail for life where they really don't have any freedom, rather than to take a whipping and be embarrassed in front of their friends. It's up to us. It's up to us to take care of our children. It's up to us to teach our kids. And don't be sitting around waiting on other people to teach your children all of this stuff that they are removing from school. All of this stuff. Don't sit around and wait on anybody else to teach your kids what your kids need to know. Why wait on somebody else to do it? Why? It doesn't take a whole lot of time. Just on the car ride to school or getting dressed in the morning, give your kids something to think on. Give them something to think about. My mom was like, they think I'm bad and they think Eco Neighbor is bad. But my mom is the queen of teachable moments. And she's always been that way. And that's why I'm that way. Like, turn everything into a teachable moment. So when you have those moments in the car with your kids, like, turn that trash off. Turn that noise off. Turn that programming off that is taking your kids' attention. Turn it off and have a conversation with your kid. Most people, when they like their kids, they talk to them. I like them. So I like to talk to them. I want to know what they think. I want to know how they feel. I want to know, Nikki said that's scary and sad. Yeah, you need to know what scares your kids. You need to know what makes them sad. You need to know what hurts their feeling. You need to know, if you don't talk to your kids, you will never know. And if you don't take it upon yourself to stop waiting on people outside of you, your environment, your house, your family, your tribe, your community, whatever, if you don't stop waiting on them people to teach your kids what they need to know, teach your own kids. Don't sit around waiting on somebody else to do something for your kids that you're supposed to be doing. If you want your kids to know about Black history, guess what? Give them somebody to look up and ask them to bring you back some information on that. If you want your kids to know about farming, about what it takes to grow plants, about how to make fertilizer yourself instead of going to buy it, about what you can pull up out of the ground to put in a container to make your own stuff, about what you can put in some dirt to make it better so that you'll get a nice, beautiful, bountiful harvest when you get ready to go out and pull things out of your garden. Don't wait on anybody else to teach your kids. It's your responsibility. Should I say her kids used to get on her nerve. Yankee sister said, yes, we were taught his story. Tell the babies the truth. It's up to you. Ain't nobody else about to tell them the truth. They want you to keep believing that Christopher Columbus discovered America. they want to keep that holiday on the books. Teach your own kids. Teach your own kids. Listen, we used to have what I call Black Power Hour in my house, Black History lesson every Friday. Look at that. It don't have to be every day. It don't have to be 365 if you don't want it to. What you laughing at?
I'm sorry, I yawned on here.
Oh,
normally I have more etiquette.
Yeah, we about to get up out of here anyway. But we just wanted to talk to you guys. We wanted to leave you with something beneficial. I'm seeing an increasing number of people that are talking about homeschooling their kids, and I'm also seeing another whole segment of people who are complaining about what the school system is not doing for their kids. I'm an ex-pro boxer, and I trained my children how to protect themselves. And I always tell them, as long as they don't violate you physically, walk away. Look at that. Lessons, life lessons that are so beneficial. Life lessons that will get your child an extra few years on this ground. Something as simple as, if you can walk away, walk away. All of those are lessons. That stuff has to come from home. It has to come from our kids. I'm gonna tell y'all a story. When I used to substitute teach, I know y'all probably like, girl, I done did some of everything. Yeah, because yes, I done did some of everything. So there was this one lady who was a church member of mine. And I told her, I was like, I got a call to sub your class for next week. She was going to be out. I don't know if she was like having surgery or what was happening with her. But I was like, got called to sub for your class for the week. And so she was like, oh, really? Yeah. She talking to me about the kids who were going to give me trouble. Okay. That's what she was telling me. That there were two kids in particular, and she gave me their names. and said that them kids were going to give me trouble. They were going to be the trouble. They are the disruptors in the classroom. I went into the classrooms, and when I'm going through the role, I'm trying to learn who everybody is, and I see these two names of these precious little kids. They were probably five-ish, had to be kindergarten, first grade, 5, 6, something like that. And I'm looking and I'm like, okay, those are the two kids. And I'm like, they have been mighty quiet. But it's about 5 or 6 more over here that are running amok. And I was trying to figure out, why did she single out those two little kids? That those kids were going to give me trouble. And they were my sweetest little helpers in the classroom for the entire week that I was there. And the ones that she didn't call out, I was like, how did she miss these kids? How did she miss these? And then I'm doing a little work trying to help kids write their letters. And I'm like, go away. And I'm like, how the heck does this kid not know how to write a D? I'll never forget it. How does this baby, because my kids, by the time they got to school, they were already reading and writing. So I'm like, how the heck does this baby not know how to write a D? And when I got with him and I helped him to write the D, I first went, listen, this is basic stuff, right? Took this little kid, guided his hand to write a D on his paper. And then I was like, okay, so did you see that? Make a circle and then put a line down behind it. Make sure the line touches the back side of your circle. And when he did it, his face was glowing. He was smiling so big. I was pissed. You hear me? I was pissed. I was really pissed with her. And I ain't never looked at her the same again. I was really pissed with her. I was like, she didn't even give these kids a chance. She did not even give these kids a chance. She did not even give them an opportunity. Why is it that this kid has been in your class for almost a whole year, but I can come in here with my little substitute non-teaching self and help this child write a D, and he is happy. He is so happy because he learned how to write a D today. And he been on your watch. He been on your watch the entire year and did not know how to write a D. How is it that you missed that of this kid, but you labeled him as a problem kid? Nikki, it literally took 60 seconds. You have to take care of your own kids, people. Whatever you want your kids to know, it is your responsibility, because there are some people out here that could give a good GOTD about your kids. It's up to you. It's up to you. Everything that you want them to know. That's one of the beauties of homeschool, is that everything that you want your kids to know, they can learn it because you are available to do it. Even if you work during the day, guess what you can do? Give them a little time at night. Dinner time. before they get ready to go and take their bath and go to bed, give them a few minutes. Give them a little bit of something. Give them something to go on. Give them something to take their mind to a higher level. If you don't do it, public school sure ain't gonna do it. And all that money that people put into private school, we did it for a little bit, making sure that they went to these high priced, you know, get them ready for kindergarten when they 2 years old kind of schools. Yeah. It's up to you. You got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. Because the way that this society is going and the way that our governor is doing things, and I know some of your governors are doing the same thing, they aren't going to know anything about their history, their real history, if you don't tell them, because they want to do away with it all. It's up to you. It's your job. Don't allow your kids to slide on your watch. You don't have to have all day. It doesn't take all day. How much time would you say when you were in traditional school? How much time would you say that a teacher had, that a teacher actually taught during a period, during one period? Like, help us to understand what was happening in the classroom. How much time did they actually have to teach?
I'd say between the class was at least 45 to 50 minutes long.
Okay.
So they had at least, with having to get everything together first, having to get everybody in there, having to take roll and all the other stuff, that took at least 10 to 15 minutes. So I'd say at least 25 to 30 minutes they had to teach.
Okay. So maybe half the class period that they had to actually teach. Was that enough time to ask questions, to understand for any of that?
No. If you wanted to do that, you would have to talk to your teacher and schedule a time early in the morning, or you have to stay after school just to get one-on-one time with your teacher. Other than that, no, you didn't.
Oh, and we're going to end on that right there. Cassandra South Fulton Gardner. Time is the greatest gift that we can give to our children. And like I said, even if it's just in the car, even if it's just taking a ride to the store, taking a ride to Walmart, engage with them, have conversations with them, give them a little bit of knowledge, and you will be amazed at how it adds up and how much your children know, and the types of conversations that your children can have. She's 17, okay? And a half, and 3/4 now, and 3/4. So the types of conversations and the readiness for this ugly world, it shows when you put that little bit of time, when you put that little bit of time into your kids. When I taught school in college, I listened to teachers talk about passing kids on that couldn't read or write. They didn't want them in their class. There are good teachers out there and there are bad ones. Amen. Amen to that. Amen to that. I got a lot of friends that are teachers and professors that work on the college level. So never, and they understand because we have these conversations. We have these same conversations. Never to bash, ever, never that, because I know their value. I know how important they are, but I also know how important we are as parents. We are our children's first teachers. We are their first friends. And so for us, it is invaluable to pour into them. So with that being said, me and Lil Gigi, it's dark. Me and Lil Gigi is going to get in the house because these werewolves and all of this, we just can't do it. So thank you very much to you all who came in. I really appreciate it. Thank you. and the bugs trying to get in my mouth. Brenda King, Cheryl Faulkner, thank you. Ebony R, good to see you, sis. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Whole new perspective. Miss Cheryl Faulkner, my Renaissance grandma. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys being here, coming into the chat. My ATL friends in the house, Shakira. Um, uh, gosh, I wish I could pronounce your name. Aki Akichitas Ranch. Listen, I'm sorry if I butchered it. I didn't mean to, but thank you so much for contributing to the conversation. I really appreciate it. Nikki, thank you so much for being here. Psalm 146, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Jim Jones, Liz B. Journey, thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate you. Z, thank you so much for being here. Yankee Sister, thank you so much for being here. Growing with Hudson, thank you, sis, for being here. Ide Love, thank you for being here. Nicole Groves, thank you so much. Your baby is going to be just fine. Make sure your baby is communicating with other people, having play dates and all of that thing. That's what I meant to say. That's all they were missing. Play dates. Have lots of play dates, and your child will be socially wonderful. Your child will be a social butterfly. She already is, I can tell, with her little cute self. Brenda King, thank you, thank you, thank you very much for being here. And Khadijah, thank you so much for being here. So if you are looking to homeschool your children, then go online and find things. Brother Lawrence, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. um, Go online and do searches on homeschool curriculum. You can find some of that stuff, or you can create your own homeschool curriculum. You can do this yourself. We did it ourselves. My baby is done. She is official. She is done. There, if you have questions, feel free to email me. I will share whatever I know with you about that and about the environment that we are in. She was schooling in Leon County, and that's where she finished in Tallahassee. So anything you want to know, email me. And otherwise, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you. And thank you. Yeah, we both our heads on swivel because like it's nighttime for real out here. Like it gets real out here. So we fixing to pack up and we fixing to get inside. So I'll talk to you guys later. And remember, guys, that prayer changes things. Prayer still works. Have a wonderful night. And you guys have a blessed week. I'll talk to you later.